I'm on the AMLE Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure to introduce your speakers today. We were lucky to get a whole cadre of people working together on something very interesting and exciting. We have Alyssa, who is a high school student who's been involved with the service club that will be speaking with you. And we have Natalie, who's currently in middle school. Natalie's mom, who is involved, this is Sabrina. And then we have Mr. Myers, Michael Myers. Michael Meyer has been a counselor since 2000. After September 11th, his students wanted to help our wounded nation. Their idea of a dance marathon has transformed into a tool for students to use to learn leadership through event planning, trial and error, and university partnerships. 8th grade students organized their own service projects using the skills they learned. Michael has been the recipient of the North Carolina Middle School Counselor of the Year Award and the Penn State Alumni Leadership Award. So please welcome Michael Meyer and the rest of his crew.
Thanks so much for having me. Is that too loud? Let's see here. No matter how many times you test it ahead of time, it never seems to work, but it's actually time to do it. Is that better? Okay, thanks. Thanks so much for coming. It means a ton to my students that traveled from North Carolina to be here with you guys today and to hear what they have been a part of and to share with you what they've done. And this is something that we really hope that you might be able to take back to your schools at some level. We never anticipated our project to become what it's become. So a lot of times when people hear what we've done, some people say it's a little overwhelming, we never have time to do all this, when do you have time for this? And the great thing about this project is it can be as small, medium, or large as your school wants it to make it happen. So all we're going to do today is we're going to tell you what we did, and you can take your handouts home with you, and you can modify this or edit this however you need to fit your school and your school's needs. Because we've done everything from one-day projects that have taken a total of 2 hours to year-long projects that require an entire year of planning and everything in between. So to start off, I just want to give you a brief history of our club. Our club was actually started shortly after 9/11. I was my second year as a middle school counselor, and 9/11 happened, and a group of 5 students came to me and wanted to know what our school could do to help out those folks that were going through so much. So we had an after-school meeting and just kind of put our heads together. And there was only about 10 kids at the time that showed up for this, and 10 kids said, we decided on having this dance marathon. I said, that might sound like a fun thing to do, and the kids could raise some money for the Twin Tower funds and take it from there. We went to the principal with the idea, and while the idea was approved, as so many times in education, we got no money to run it. So I went back to the kids and said, I have some good news and I have some bad news. I said, the good news is we're allowed to have a dance marathon. I said, the bad news is we're flat broke and it's going to cost some money to put this thing on. So I said, there's a lot of adults in the school who don't really think this is going to be able to happen. I said, I'm willing to go out there and prove some people wrong if you guys want to do that. And every hand went up and said they want to participate. And now, many, many years later, project has raised over $150,000 profit, and we're going to share with you today how we went from 2001 to now in 2013. So that's the history of our club. And our mission that we have worked on for several years and have finally got it to where we need it to be is to introduce the youth to the needs of others and the development of ethical leadership skills. So this is a 2-part project. You have leadership opportunities, and you also have the teaching kids the importance of helping your neighbor and citizens at the same time in an ethical way. Okay? Next, we're going to get into the principles that we came up with. We needed a name for our group. For 2 years, it was called Mr. Myers After School Program. And then at some point, the principal said, your group really needs a name. The yearbook, it just looks odd. So we came up with, so I went to the kids, I said, what do we need to come up with a name? I said, well, what do we do? He said, well, we socialize, we organize, and we do service. So we came up with SOS, Social Organization and Service Club. So that's how we reach our principles. We teach students above all the importance of being good citizens. We bring the students in the school together to accomplish something positive. For those of you that are working on your school climate, this is something that really, over the years, has helped our school climate. It's something everybody can be proud of. And then teaching students to come up with creative and unique ideas, which we're going to talk with you more about that. In fact, they will. Work hard and play hard. So in other words, giving them some time to have some fun as a group, as team building. And then just challenging them to do their absolute best. You know, we heard yesterday, this is our school too. And this is a great project. Any kid can do this. You don't have to be the best athlete. You don't have to be the top of your class. Any kid who wants to feel like they want to be a part of your school can get involved at any level that they're comfortable with. Some really, like these guys, fly to Minnesota to talk about it. Others are involved in other things and do what they can. But that's the great thing about it. You don't have to have the same commitment level from every single person to feel like they make a difference. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. Our club follows 3 basic rules. The do right rule is to always do the right thing even when no one is looking. Do everything to the best of your ability teaches the importance of giving every opportunity your personal best effort even if you think it is hard. Our last rule is to show everyone that you care. This means helping people of all ages, even people that you do not know. All these rules are from Codes and Bolts. In SOS, we believe that everybody can do good things, and each person should try to do their best. We believe in the power of the individual and that everyone has unique skills and abilities to contribute. We believe that team functions best when members do their part to get the job done. We need the unique skills of every member. We also believe that it is valuable to have the opportunity to succeed and fail. We learn from both.
So getting started. Let's say you go back to your schools and you say, we want to start something like this. Where do we even begin? You know, one of the biggest challenges sometimes is just finding an advisor. I know the reality of middle schools nowadays is there's just so much that people already have on their plates. You know, how do you find someone that's going to be an advisor for something like this? We've done a couple different things to solve this. We've got maybe a group of 6 teachers who would rotate off and on so that we didn't have the same person always having to stay. My most recent school actually decided to allow the group to meet during school. They have a time when clubs can meet. Some schools have that. I realize that might not be an option for others. Getting administrative support obviously is critical before you begin. And then deciding what your vision is going to be. You know, what do we want this to look like? The biggest thing that I think has driven our success is student input on the projects. So basically, the kids get to decide what are some causes that we want to help, and what are some things the kids would find fun in doing, and then trying to balance those with things that you know could or could not be done in your school. And I really think that's probably the most critical thing on the entire list, along with parent involvement, as with anything, is getting your students to really feel like they took some ownership of whatever project it is, rather than saying, okay guys, we're going to donate cans, which is a nice thing to do. If it's something that the faculty decided on doing, then the kids really don't really feel that ownership that they came up with the idea themselves. Finances, this is probably the one we get the most questions about. How does your school actually do this? Oh my gosh, we would never be able to do this. You know, money nowadays is very difficult as far as how money is collected at your school. So what we did is we're just going to tell you what we did. We've done all 3 of these at different times based on different administrations and what people were comfortable with. Certainly if your school is comfortable handling the finances through your school bookkeeper or treasurer, that's one way to go. If it's a situation where that's not going to be comfortable, it's an opportunity to partner in your community. We're always hearing about community partnerships. How do we get the community in our school? Most towns have a Kiwanis, a Rotary, something like that. Most of those groups are looking for ways to get involved with the youth. They just don't know what is needed. And then they already have a treasurer, typically, who knows what they're doing. They're well respected in town. There's not some shady group that no one's ever heard of before, and they're able to manage our finances. And for several years, the Rotary Club of Wake Forest managed our finances, and that provided the oversight that everybody needed to know was happening. There was never a time that one person had access to any of the funds. The other option is the beneficiary of your event. If you decided you're going to raise money for a certain cause, you might ask them, hey, at the end of this, would you be willing to take care of some of our invoices that we might have, because the school might not be able to take care of those. And a lot of beneficiaries will be glad to do that because they're going to be making a profit off of it. Okay. The next step is to define what the projects are going to be. We already talked about student input. You're going to want to decide the number of projects. And again, the first year you might decide, let's just do one in the spring, one in the fall. Let's do something simple. Let's see how it goes. And it's, and a lot of times what we found is if you do one small one, or what happened, and people get excited about it, and it gets bigger. And that's what happened with ours. Also the frequency of the project. Are we going to do something that is more for a one-time thing, like, for example, Hurricane Sandy? We did do something for Hurricane Sandy. That's not something we're going to repeat every single year. There are other projects that we might decide, hey, you know what, this might be something we might want to make an annual event at our school. It might be a new event that the kids want to do. School or community-based. This is deciding whether or not you want your project just to be for your students only, or do we want to open this up to the community? We're always hearing about getting, again, community members in. How do we get community members so they can see what good things we're doing in our schools, instead of, some of the stuff they just read in the newspapers, people that aren't in the trenches doing the work. So sometimes when you invite these community members and say, hey, you know what, there is some good stuff happening at this school. I didn't even know they were doing this. I saw 10 kids that all gave up a Saturday to do something good, and that word starts to spread. And then, of course, again, making sure you have administrative approval. Natalie, again, is going to take you through some important questions to ask yourself.
Based on your club's project interests, we recommend you ask yourself the following questions. First, how often will your club meet meetings? And will your meetings need to be during school, after school, or both? Due to the many projects that our school SOS Club organized, we met every week after school. Some weeks, closer to a big event, we hold meetings twice a week. We need sponsorship to fund the project. Our largest projects require sponsorship to cover expenses. Fundraisers are another way to raise money, and they can be quick and easy. Some of our fundraisers included selling Krispy Kreme donuts, Yankee candles, luminaries, and chocolate candy bars. Car washes and yard sales are other ways to raise money. Do you want the media to promote the project and or report about it? We utilize TV stations, radio, and newspapers to promote our community events and advertise our accomplishments. How many volunteers will be necessary? Volunteers may be needed to assist during meetings or events. Of course, this will depend on the number of members at meetings or the size of the event. Our club frequently relied on former SOS members, area high school students, from other service-oriented clubs, teacher volunteers, and parents. I'd like to share with you some of the projects that SOS has done over the years. One of the expectations of the SOS Club is that each member will participate in at least 3 service-related events or projects during the school year, and we keep a log of our activities. We enjoy helping people of all ages, and one example is caring to senior citizens each year at Christmas by visiting 2 local assisted living homes. This is a fun outing, and I enjoyed playing violin for a couple of songs last year. We have supported a variety of charities by collecting items. Some examples include clothing for the homeless, crutches for Africa, and shoes for Samaritan's feet. We also volunteered to help collect food with the Food Bank of Eastern North Carolina. On the right is a picture of me, Alyssa, and I helping collect food for the food bank, and I'm the carrots. Another activity organized by our club is volunteering to read to younger students at 2 local elementary schools once a week. This project typically lasts from 2 to 4 months and helps give teachers some assistance as well. SOS Other members volunteered to help walk horses at a local stable. Our club has also enjoyed visiting patients at the area Veterans Hospital. It was great to show our support by simply spending time with them to show them that they are appreciated. Another way that we show support of our servicemen and women is the Traveling American Flag Project. This was started in honor of family members serving across the seas in our armed forces. SOS began taking our American flag with us on trips, such as the one shown here, posting photos on our Traveling Flag website. It was just a small way of showing members of the military that we think of them and honor their service no matter where we go. These pictures are with SOS members in front of our school and the military servicemen, with lumberjacks in Alaska, with a sailor on the USS Constitution in Boston, with Mr. Meyer in front of the Twin Towers Memorial, and in front of the Arches National Park in Utah.
Good morning, I'm Melissa, and I'm going to talk about some special one-time projects that SOS has done. The first one I'm going to talk about is when we volunteered at the Hurricane Sandy Relief Shelter. I had the opportunity to go there with some fellow members, and we pretty much stocked the shelves with food, clothing, personal hygiene items that the victims may have lost during the hurricane. While we were up there in New York, we also volunteered at the Xavier Soup Kitchen in Manhattan. I really enjoyed volunteering there because I had that one-on-one time with the less fortunate, and I really got to understand what they were feeling. During that same trip, we went to Newtown, Connecticut. After the tragedy, we really wanted to give back. So our school art teacher made a banner and we presented it at the Healing Through Art Center over there in Newtown, Connecticut. If you look closely, you can see the Newtown skyline painted on the banner, and it's also in the background of the picture. And that was just really fun because we got to see the artwork that the country has donated to help Newtown get through the hard time. Another one-time project was Flight 93. In 2008, on our way back from the Penn State Dance Marathon, we stopped at Shanksville to present a memorial that our art teacher had also made. And as you can see in the picture, we all signed the memorial, and we got to see other donations that the country's given to help the families get through it. We came back in 2013, and since the memorial was under construction, we took a picture with our Traveling American flag with the permanent wall with all the victims' names on it. And one of our members still wanted to do more for Flight 93, so we're going to show you guys a video that was featured on the news about Flight 93 night.
Hey, cool school today, Wake Forest Roseville Middle. I'll tell you about why that is in a second. But all in all, temperatures are going to be in the 60s to 70s today. Let's get right to this because Sharon talked about what's happening with the Carolina Hurricanes tonight.
The campaign still needs about $10 million to complete the 9/11 memorial in Shanksville. We have a link on our website about how you can help. Just go to WRAL.com, check the local news section.
After the break,
Now I'm going to talk about some large projects that we have organized. One of these is a fun fair. It is a carnival open to the public with activities like a dunking booth, games, and inflatables where families can have a day of fun. We held this event for 5 years, and our proceeds are donated to charities that support veterans, such as Fisher House and Wounded Warrior Project. Our messiest event by far is the Slime Time fundraiser, because it's always a big hit. People pay a set price to be able to slime a volunteer or pie them in the face. We typically hold this event in conjunction with a fun fair or a town event such as a street carnival. Our third charity fundraiser is the Pull-Up Lunch. It works much like a charity marathon where participants collect donations and in return for agreeing to jump into cold water during the winter months. We started this event for 2 years, and on the third year, we handed it over to Gold Club to Special Olympics of North Carolina, and the next year we participated. Our favorite story by far is when a lady came to jump into the lake with us in her wedding dress. And wedding dresses are usually charitable. So we were wondering why she would jump into her wonderful wedding dress. So she came over to talk to us, and she said that her fiance had called off their wedding a week before. So she read online that the best way to get over a dump, or over being dumped, is to jump into water. I don't know where she got that from. As you've already heard, this was the first event, Dance Marathon is the first event held by the SOS Club, and it was by far our largest fundraiser for charity. Due to the size of the event, it requires year-round planning. The proceeds benefit both Duke Children's Miracle Network and North Carolina Children's Hospital. I'd like to share this video clip taken from an earlier dance marathon that includes a great interview with Mr. Meyer.
Well, we just heard Greg's on the road tonight. He's in Wake Forest from what we're told is a dance-a-thon and fish. Weird.
So look forward to that real quickly. The dual Doppler 5000 coming in the evening. We'll be back in an hour for Wake Forest Roseville Middle School, and I guarantee you there'll be lots of excitement and noise at that time. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Greg.
As you saw in the video, the Dance Marathon began as a school event and was held for 8 years in the gym. One of the fun aspects of this event is the theme. Over the years, the Dance Marathon has had themes such as Hawaii, Las Vegas, Hollywood, Glow in the Dark, and Blast from the Past. Fun theme-related gadgets or party favors are available to participants and add to the festivities. For 2 years, Dance Marathon was held at a large recreation center in our town called the Factory. SOS rented out the entire facility for the overnight event. You may be wondering how we kept young teenagers dancing till midnight. The trick was to offer a variety of activities such as inflatables, basketball, soccer, a talent show, video games, and a photo booth. These extra activities helped to keep everyone awake. This was also the first time that our club was able to invite the 2 other middle schools in our town to participate. It was a huge success. In 2012, our club was given the unique opportunity to hold our dance marathon at PNC Arena, which is home to the NHL Carolina Hurricanes, as well as the NC State University basketball team. This occurred after meeting with General Manager while planning the Flight 93 night. They offered us the opportunity to open our event to the entire middle school district, which includes about 35 middle schools. It was named the Triangle Dance Marathon. We were really excited about growing our event. However, it did not happen without challenges. Simply moving the dance 25 minutes away from our town was the first concern because many parents were not able or willing to travel that far. Also, marketing the dance marathon to new schools in our district proved to be challenging because of the necessary approvals and time that it required. There were benefits as well. For example, using a well-staffed venue such as PNC Arena meant that our volunteers would focus more on activities, dance, guests, and participants.
Okay. What I'm going to talk with you about now is how we actually raise the money at the Dance Marathon. And, realistically, if any of you want to do something like this, just like we did for 8 years, it would probably start at your school gym. Many might stay there, which is fine. Some of our best years actually working in the school gym. The kids had a great time, regardless of where it was at. But what we did was our goal every year was for all the money that the kids raised to actually be donated. The way we did that was, as you heard on the video interview, was we went out and tried to get some sponsorship for the event. If getting sponsorship is tricky at your school, that was where we brought in the Rotary Club. So sponsors were able to make a donation to the Rotary Club, and then the Rotary Club then in turn funded the things that we needed for the dance. Because there are some, like, for example, we weren't allowed to use funds on gift cards and prizes. Well, that was a big thing that we wanted to have at the event, was to have some incentives for kids. Just some fun little things to give away throughout the night. So the Rotary Club was able to pay for those things. The confetti can that was there, that was something that we were able to get sponsorship for. And again, the Rotary Club picked up that. What we also did was we challenged all the SOS Club members to raise $100 per year. We went over some of the variety of fundraisers that we did. We didn't force that. It wasn't something that would go and kick anyone out of the club if they didn't do it. But the reason we did that was we told the kids, no, let's just pretend it's out of our control somewhat what sponsorship is on any given year. And sponsorship did decline at times. Some businesses came under real rough times, and they said, we've really enjoyed being a part of this. We just can't afford to keep doing it. And then what that was is that by having the kids do that, it was a guarantee that if we wouldn't spend a whole year planning, and then not have enough money to fund the actual event. So most years we were able to add the $100 they raised to the total donations because we did get enough sponsorship. But then there was one year where we really did not have enough. And fortunately, we didn't have to cancel the event. We were able to use those funds to put the event on. Now, the regular kid, and when we invited other kids from the schools that weren't in the club, that they only had to raise $20 or $25 to come. They were encouraged just to ask 4 people they know for a $5 donation. They're going to dance all night for 2 children's hospitals. And it was a lot easier than a lot of them thought. When they first heard $20 for a dance, my mom says that's crazy. And they're trying to explain that it's a fundraiser and that most people will make a donation when you explain what it is. And then we had extra incentives for the kids that went above and beyond. So some of the kids, like for example, if a kid raised $50, they got like a free dinner. They had their name entered in a drawing with $100 cash. They got free little party favors that went with the theme. So there were ways that we really tried to get kids excited about going above and beyond. And that was really how we raised the type of money we did. This was critical. Again, yesterday we heard it's our school too. Why are pep rallies only for the sports teams? So here we were, a club that had more kids in the club than any of the sports teams did, and was helping the school get the news and doing some good things. And I said, you know what? They deserve a pep rally. So what we started doing was, before the dance marathon, we would invite patients from the hospitals to come to the school with their families. And we had the whole school come in. And the patients and the kids and the families would get up and share whatever their story was with the entire school. And the kids would get to go up and get the permission form from the actual patient at the end of the thing. So there was, even if it was only a couple seconds, there was still that contact, that eye-to-eye contact. These are the kids that you're going to be helping by participating in this event. I can't even tell you how much this skyrocketed our sales and our participation. Every year when we had this pep rally, the next day it was just going through the roof. And I always thought it was one of the most important parts of the whole event, even more than the dance, because this is where the kids were actually learning about how they can make a difference. And they're meeting real people that it's going to help. So having that pep rally was a huge thing for us. So student leadership. You heard some of our smaller projects. All of those smaller projects were organized by 8th grade leaders that had been in the club for 3 years. So they used the skills that they learned organizing a big event to do a small event, like the pet vaccination, like the reading to elementary school students. We had the kids actually contact the elementary school to say, we would like to do this. Of course, I kind of gave them a heads up that you might be hearing from one of our students. But the idea was, again, to get the kids behind making something happen. The vaccination clinic was a local skating rink, so that student had to call the skating rink manager. Hey, can we use your skating rink to have a pet vaccination clinic? They called the doctors that were going to do the clinic. Called the newspaper, make sure people knew to bring their pets out that day. So these are things that 8th graders can do, and they don't have to be the most athletic. They don't have to be the top of your honor roll to be able to do those types In our meetings, we would elect officers for the year. Those officers would then learn how to manage the meetings themselves. I actually did very little in the meetings except supervise. Eventually, I meet with the leaders and the officers ahead of time and tell them this is what we need to get done on any given day. Here's our agenda. And through trial and error, they would learn leadership skills that work for them. The student leaders led the different committees, which now is going to tell you about in a few minutes that we have. We came up with different committees. Why do we have different committees, you ask? Because every kid has something they can offer. You know, there might be a kid that is scared to death to get up in front of a group of people and do this. You know, they don't want to be on a video commercial. But they might be a great artist, and they can design a logo. They can design signs. There might be another kid that just has a knack for going out to a business. You know, or coming up with really creative ideas that would be fun at the event. So all these committees was so that everybody in that group felt like they had something they could do to contribute that was important. And without any one of the committees there, the entire event would suffer tremendously. Then what we would do is we would try to have the experienced members set the example for the newer members. And does this always work? I mean, let's be real, we're all middle school educators. No, there were sometimes I had to sit down with leaders and tell them I was disappointed in them. You know, but again, this was all part of the learning aspect. Trial and error. What kind of leadership style works for you? You can't go in if you're an 8th grader and boss a bunch of 6th graders around and expect them to respect you. You have to learn the proper way to treat people if you want them to work for you. And then, of course, the advisors, the parent volunteers, the teacher volunteers, we were there to provide the guidance, the oversight to make sure things stay on task. Biggest thing is this would really help the students build their self-confidence. It would give them the courage to come to a conference and do what they're doing here today. Give them the courage to get up and do a public speak at the Meyer's talk. You know, to do different things like that a lot of kids never really felt like they would have the courage or the ability to do.
Our members divided into committees to work on important tasks or planning an event. We met regularly as part of our weekly meetings. We primarily rely on committees for planning dance marathon, but they are useful for other fundraiser events as well. The activities committee determines what extra entertainment activities will be included at the event, such as the ones I described earlier for dance marathon. Space and budget help to determine how many activities can be part of the event. The theme committee is responsible for choosing the theme of dance marathon. They have lots of fun considering options and looking for decorations as well as theme-related party favorites that we call gadgets. We rely heavily on marketing and it's divided into 3 committees. The science committee makes posters and flyers to advertise our events to our school. The communications committee is responsible for sharing event information through email, Facebook, Twitter, and our school and club website. The commercials committee helps with marketing by recording a variety of fun infomercials to encourage participation at our events. Their commercials are posted on our club website and YouTube. The sponsorship committee works throughout the year to obtain donations from area businesses to help cover expenses. We use visits and business letters to request their support. The committee determines the benefits that will be offered to sponsors and writes thank you letters. The donations are handled through our Rotary Club partner, and parents help to ensure that sponsor benefits are fulfilled. I enjoy being a part of this committee. These are some pictures of our committees in action. Our sponsorship committee is dressed professionally to visit businesses in our immediate area. On the right are members of the science committee making a large banner to use at one of our events. And lastly, the commercials committee is outside recording another booklet to use for marketing. We would like to share with you one of our fun commercials.
Hi, County! This is for all middle school students, and we want to invite you to the dance
she visits our SOS club every year. I was able to meet her last year, and she is amazing because she has such a positive attitude. Leah is a reminder of why we raise money for Duke and UNC Children's Hospitals. Here's a video about Leah that we use as a commercial to raise awareness for food health.
Hey, Steve Martinelli here, with Duke Children's Hospital, trying to get you guys excited about raising money for one of the greatest things ever. Duke Children's Hospital takes care of a lot of children that would not have any benefit if it wasn't for you. Trying to get you and your buddies to help out. This is my daughter Leah. She has neuroblastoma, the leading cancer killer of children. And well, it's a very sick disease. It's in your bloodstream, and tumors pop up everywhere. A lot of kids don't make it with this disease, and there's no money for the cure because there's very few children have it. This is Leah. Leah, tell them how important it is to